Welcome back today, coin collectors and history lovers. In this video, we're diving into the fascinating world of British numismatics and focusing on the top 2 most valuable 2 shilling coins. These classic pre-decimal coins, also known as florins, were once an everyday part of life in the United Kingdom, but today, certain years, mint marks, and conditions make them rare treasures that collectors pay big money for at auction. Let's get started. First up, the United Kingdom 2 shilling coin from 1949. Looking closely at its history, its unique design features, its rarity, and of course, its market value in US dollars when found in fine condition. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just beginning your numismatic journey, this coin offers a special glimpse into post-war British coinage and has become an intriguing collectible for those interested in mid-20th century British history. The 1949 2 shilling coin holds a unique place in the numismatic world. Also known as the florin, this denomination dates back to 1849, when it was first introduced as part of the United Kingdom's attempt to move closer to a decimal system. The specific 1949 issue, however, came during the reign of King George VI. Britain was still in the aftermath of World War II, facing economic challenges and rationing, and coins of this era reflect the austerity of the time. By 1947, the government had stopped minting silver coins and moved entirely to cupronickel compositions. Therefore, the 1949 2 shilling is part of the first few years where silver content was no longer included, making it a distinctive example of the transition in British coinage materials. The 1949 2 shilling coin is beautifully detailed, despite being made of cupronickel rather than precious metal. On the obverse, it features the portrait of King George VI facing left, designed by Thomas Humphrey Paget. Around the king's effigy, the legend reads Georgiv 6D GBROMN Rex Fide Def, meaning George VI, by the grace of God, King of all the Britons, defender of the faith. On the reverse, designed by George Kruger Gray, you'll find a crowned Tudor rose in the center, surrounded by a thistle, shamrock, and leek symbols of the 4 nations of the United Kingdom. The words FID Def 2 Shillings 1949 encircle the design. Its diameter is 28.5 millimeters, and its weight is around 11.3 grams, making it substantial in hand compared to many modern coins. Now, when it comes to rarity, the 1949 2 shilling coin is not the rarest of the George VI series, but it still attracts steady collector demand. Millions were minted, but as with most coins, high-grade specimens are much harder to find today. Many circulated heavily through the 1950s and 1960s, meaning that most surviving coins are worn, scratched, or damaged. Even coins in fine condition, meaning lightly worn but still showing clear details, hold collectible value, as many lower-grade examples have lost too much detail to appeal to serious collectors. Interestingly, even damaged or very worn examples are sometimes sought after by beginners or casual collectors who simply want a piece of British history without spending too much. So what about the value? In fine condition, a 1949 2 shilling coin typically sells in the range of $322,000 at auctions or online marketplaces. Very fine or extremely fine examples can reach around $15, and uncirculated examples with brilliant detail and luster can command between $114,000, depending on demand and the specific sale venue. Rare proof issues or exceptionally preserved coins may sell for even higher amounts. However, in damaged or heavily worn condition, these coins may fetch only around $1 or less, often being sold in bulk lots of old British coinage. While the coin may not be worth hundreds or thousands, its historical significance and collectability ensure that it maintains a stable place in the coin market. For collectors interested in adding the 1949 2 shilling to their collection, there are a few helpful tips to keep in mind. First, always pay attention to the grade of the coin. Coins with sharper details and less wear always hold more value over time. Second, check for any errors or unusual minting varieties, as these can sometimes increase a coin's worth. Third, consider purchasing from reputable dealers or established auction houses to ensure authenticity, as reproductions and altered coins do exist. Finally, storing your coin properly in a protective holder will help preserve its condition, especially given the cupronickel material, which can dull or tarnish if exposed to moisture. The United Kingdom 2 shilling coin of 1949 may not be the rarest or most valuable coin in existence, but it represents an important chapter in British coinage. It reflects the economic challenges of post-war Britain, the shift from silver to base metal, and the enduring artistry of mid-20th century coin design. While its market value in fine condition ranges modestly between a few dollars, its historical significance and collectible appeal make it a worthy addition to any numismatic collection. Next up, the United Kingdom 2 shilling coin from 1950 in very fine condition. For coin collectors and history enthusiasts alike, this coin represents a unique piece of Britain's numismatic journey. While at first glance it may appear as just another pre-decimal coin, the 1952 shilling actually holds a deeper story of transition, design heritage, and collector demand. By the end of this video, you'll not only understand its historical context but also know what makes it special, how much it's worth at auction in US dollars, and why collectors continue to pursue it today. The 2 shilling coin, also known as a florin, has its origins in the mid-19th century. The denomination was introduced in 1849 as part of an effort to ease the transition toward decimalization, since the florin was worth 1/10 of a pound. By 1950, the coin was still being struck as part of the circulating currency of post-war Britain. This was during the reign of King George VI, whose portrait appears on the obverse of the coin. Britain was still recovering from the aftermath of World War II, and coinage remained an essential part of daily life. Interestingly, the 1952 shilling comes from a period just before major changes in British coinage, both in design and metal composition. The 1952 shilling carries some distinctive features that make it appealing to collectors. On the obverse, we see the well-known left-facing portrait of King George VI, designed by Thomas Humphrey Paget, with a Latin inscription around the rim. On the reverse, we find the beautiful crowned Tudor rose flanked by a thistle, a shamrock, and a leek symbols representing England, Scotland, Ireland, and Wales respectively. This design by George Kruger Gray highlights the unity of the United Kingdom. The coin was struck in cupronickel, as silver had been completely removed from circulating coins by 1947 due to economic constraints. Despite lacking silver content, the coin still has a sharp and dignified design, and in very fine condition, these details remain clear and attractive. When we talk about rarity, the 1952 shilling is not considered among the scarcest British coins, but its collectability comes from its age, historical period, and the fact that fewer survive today in good condition. Millions were minted, but as with all coins, heavy circulation and eventual withdrawal from use in 1971 during decimalization reduced the number of well-preserved examples. In damaged or heavily worn condition, these coins are often overlooked and may only fetch minimal value, sometimes just a few cents or dollars depending on demand. However, collectors are always interested in higher-grade examples, and the jump in value between a worn coin and one in very fine or better condition can be significant. Now let's talk about what matters most to many collectors, the market value. In today's coin collecting market, a 1952 shilling in very fine condition generally sells for around $634,000, depending on the buyer and seller. At smaller auctions or online listings, some examples may be picked up for less, but when offered in reputable coin auctions, coins in very fine to extremely fine condition can push closer to the $516,000 range. In uncirculated or mint state condition, these coins may reach significantly higher, often exceeding $40 or more. While it's not considered a high-value rarity, its steady demand among George VI coinage collectors keeps it relevant in the auction market. If you're interested in adding a 1952 shilling to your collection, there are a few tips to keep in mind. First, always examine the condition carefully. Even a slight improvement in grade can add value, so look for coins with minimal wear and strong details on the King's portrait and the Tudor rose. Second, consider sourcing your coin from trusted dealers or auction houses to avoid counterfeits or altered pieces. Third, if you already own one in damaged condition, don't discard it. It can still serve as a filler in a collection until you find a higher grade example. Finally, remember that coins like the 1952 shilling may not be rare treasures worth thousands, but they play an important role in building a well-rounded historical collection. In conclusion, the United Kingdom 2 shilling from 1950 in very fine condition may not be the rarest or most valuable coin in British numismatics, but it holds great historical charm and collector appeal. With its ties to King George VI, its iconic design featuring the national symbols of the UK, and its place in the post-war era, this coin offers much more than its modest market value. Whether you're a beginner looking for affordable yet meaningful coins, or an experienced collector completing a set of George VI coinage, the 1952 shilling is a worthy addition to your collection. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the 1952 shilling, don't forget to like the video, subscribe for more coin history and values, and share your own experiences with this coin in the comments below.